All right, my friends, welcome to another Let's Talk with the Doc. I'm excited to be here this evening, as always. As a matter of fact, it's been a while since I've done a live program because of transitional reasons, but I'm excited to start off my new chapter, as they say, with a young, vibrant young lady aspiring to do great things. Already has done some great things. So I have with me this evening Brianna Blair. And I can't wait to find out her story, what inspires her, what motivates her, and what is her aspiration. We're going to talk about that. So stay tuned. When I come back, I'm going to be talking to Brianna. So hang in there, my friends. ORB Ministry presents Let's Talk with the Doc. Grace Without Borders podcast. A thought for you. Ask Pastor. And a whole lot more. You never know what's next or who will join the conversation. All right. All right. So here we are with Brianna Blair. Welcome, Brianna. Good to have you joining me this evening.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I'm very blessed. Very
You're
blessed.
very blessed, and I'm excited. How has your day been?
It's been very, very good. I'm definitely getting busier as college is rolling around, but I'm thankful for another day and just, to be here as well. So.
So, what was your day like today? In this on this Wednesday, what was your day like?
I mean, of course, you got to start the day with prayer and devotion, and then just throughout the day, making sure, I'm checking off my college checklists and, communicating with my roommates and my future professors to make sure that I'm on top of classes and, getting things done early. So I'm not waiting till the last minute. So,
Sound exciting. Sound like something exciting
yes.
that's happening.
Oh,
How
yes, it definitely is.
how do you and I'm gonna get into a little earlier step, but like right where we are now, how do you prepare yourself? How do you envision what it's going to be like going into college at this, okay,
Mhm.
it's a new place, it's a new world. There's a
Right.
story about people going to college and how their lives have changed. A lot of young people go to college as Christians and they come back not as
Yeah.
Christians.
Yeah.
And that's not how I wanted to start, but because you talk about what
Mhm.
your day was like, getting prepared and all of that, how have you processed that ahead of time?
I've definitely, prayed about it and just really, listened to other people's stories about, how they maintain their relationship with God, first and foremost, throughout that college experience. And I also, my first thought as well when I was looking into colleges was making sure that I was surrounding myself with people that would not stray me away from that. I mean, every college, no matter even if it's a very, very Christian college or a very, secular college, there will be a broad spectrum of, morals and values and viewpoints and worldviews. But I made it a mission to, plant myself somewhere where I can see myself growing, both career wise, both spiritually, mentally, physically. So I definitely that was from the start before I even applied to college, and then just also getting just wise words of wisdom from people who have been through the process. And making sure to carry that with me as I go through, and just everything, just trusting um, in God, throughout so many different obstacles and things that may flare up in the college process because it's not easy at all. But just kind of having the faith and just remembering what God has done for me before this moment, and I know that He'll carry me through. So
Wow.
yeah.
What a mouthful.
Yeah,
What a mouthful. I mean, I couldn't have done that better. You seem to be really prepared for that. I mean, that
yes.
was a mouthful. Well said,
Thank
well
you. Thank
thought
you.
it out. Seem like you're well prepared. You have done your research. Man, you
Yeah.
are prepared
Yeah.
for that. That was incredible. That was
Thank you.
incredible.
Yeah.
Believe me, it seemed to me like you're not gonna get surprises when you get to college. You're not gonna be
No.
thrown off filter because you seem like you have already done your research. You have listened to other people's stories.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Now I don't know who is Zachariah really for, but you said preach, and so I don't know who that is,
Oh my
but
goodness.
welcome. Good to have you. All right, I'm excited, my friend, to talk to Brianna. And let me just give a. By the way, FYI, Brianna is my wife's goddaughter. Okay, we were in the hospital when Brianna was born. We know Brianna from those days. We watched her grow, so we know Brianna, but she has made strides. She has accomplished things that we weren't a part of and weren't close enough to journey with her. We get a little synopsis of it in the distance because we have moved out of the area, but we kept in touch. And so I'm excited to have her with me tonight to tell me a little bit about her story. So for those who don't know who Brianna is, give those who don't know who Brianna is a little bit of insight. Who is Brianna Blair?
Well, I am a recent graduate from Dansville High School class of 2025. I graduated salutatorian of my class. I'm very blessed. I am virtually involved in everything possible. You can ask my parents, the late night drives and the early morning pickups. Um, Definitely very involved in a lot of things in terms of business and politics, academics. I was on my school board of education. I was a part of a organization that includes sports and community. I was spearheading the student leadership group for that, and just a lot of community-based things that I'm involved in. Yeah, and then just school-wise, just staying on top of academics, clubs. I was vice president of my class council, so I spearheaded homecoming, pep rallies, just a bunch of things. Always involved. I love doing that because I feel like it gives, it allows me to use my gifts to help others. So
You
yeah,
you
just
just
very involved, very
you,
very busy, but I
be
enjoy
on
it.
it.
I really do.
You know I put on the flyer that you were incredible already, and just talking to you now, I thought incredible is an understatement.
Yeah, I do a lot. Sometimes I don't even know how I sleep, how I get everything done. But it's just years of being okay with, mistakes and changing up my time management skills and, learning how to kind of navigate life in general while I'm also trying to, go through the process of helping others. So
You're killing me, Brianna. You're you're killing me. You are killing me with my time management skills and all of that. I mean, come on, uh, you're killing me. No, no. I'm trying to what, and I'm gonna get to those questions later on. But
Mhm.
because you're kind of throwing them out so in such a bundle, I have to pick here and there. What what triggers you getting involved in so many things, and how do you manage to do so
Um,
many things? Don't you feel overwhelmed about
mm,
do you isn't your cup full, or you think you have
yeah.
what's the word I want to use, inexhaustible capacity?
That's a great question. Um, I don't know. I don't really know if I can pinpoint what triggers it. I've just always had a heart that wants to give. I mean, I have two younger sisters, so I'm always in that environment where I'm giving and I'm leading and I'm serving. So that kind of just spews out into what I do in school and in church. Um, I'm not really sure. I can't really pinpoint it yet, but I know once I get older, I might find that, but it's just natural, very natural to me now. It does get a little bit overwhelming. I do sometimes have to take a step back, and if I see something that's kind of falling, I have to be like, okay, I need to, what am I, am I overexerting myself? What can I let go of? What can I keep going with? Can I take a step back in a leadership role and just be a member? Things like that. Just being smart with my decisions. And also, asking my parents about it. Like, what do you think about this? Because on top of clubs, I also do three sports. So having, in sports, 3 seasons throughout the entire year, and then you're also doing extracurriculars and you're out late. Um, it does get overwhelming at times, but just prayer helps a lot. Uh, prayer, really prayer. That's really all I can say. Um, and just trusting God that He will, spark ideas. Like if I sometimes I feel like some of my methods aren't working. Like for studying, I did struggle a little bit in one of my classes because they moved me up 2 classes. I hadn't
Wow.
taken the class prior. I think it was calculus. I had never taken a calculus class before, not pre-calc or anything, and they moved me from AP Stats directly to AP Calculus, which is the highest calculus class, AP Calculus, AP AB. Um, and I was definitely doubting myself a little bit because it was new and I had to navigate a new math class with a new teacher and a new environment. And I'm used to kind of being on top of it, but I had to learn that I can't always be leading. I also need to be a student. So I was really just a lot of prayer, a lot of, up late at night teaching myself, being okay with making mistakes. I think helps me to kind of with that management and being okay with if I need to let something go, I have to do that. Um,
Did anybody
but
did
yeah,
anybody say did anybody say you're 18?
no, I'm still 17. I turned 18
No,
in
I'm just saying you sound like you're 37.
yeah, I really have been ready for a while. I mean, I have heard that a lot. I think mentally, I just, because I know what I aspire to be, and I'm confident in who I am and, what God has placed in my heart to do as a career. And of course, that can always change. Um, but yeah, since I was younger, my mom has always told me that. My whole family. Um, and yeah, I'm so grateful for their prayers. And that's really the reason why I'm here today, and so confident and pushing and striving for my goals is because of them, really, and just hard work. So.
I am not surprised of your brilliance. I really am not surprised of your brilliance, but this is way more than I was expecting. I mean,
Yeah.
way more than I was expecting at this point.
Mm.
So let me back up. Let me back up a little bit because you're kind of throwing it out in bundles, incredible. My friends, I'm talking to Brianna Blair. I'm talking to Brianna Blair, and this just an incredible young lady. As you have heard, if you've been listening, and as you will hear as we go forward. So let me slow her down a little bit, and then just pick a little bit about her journey. As I said, she's my wife's goddaughter, so we know her from baby days. Her mom is a professor. Her mom is doctor. Her dad is brilliant. So she's coming under a brilliant family, mother, father. So I'm not, and then she seemed like she didn't have any issues in grabbing on to everything that they have to pour. So she's taking it from both sides. So let me slow down a little bit. Let me slow down a little bit, and then and pick up a little bit, a couple of questions here. You spend almost all of your early school years, but maybe all of it seemed like, because your mom has been a professor for a long time. You've gone to the school where your mom has been a professor, right? Um, what did it? How did it feel to you, and how did you handle that, being the student of a professor at the school where you attend? How did you deal with that, and students' reaction, etc., etc.?
Mm. Um, it's honestly ironic, because a lot of people would, they'd come to me for help, for advice, and sometimes I don't even know. I have to go back to my parents and ask. Um, but yeah, a lot of it put me at a place where I was able to help a lot of people because I had a lot of knowledge that even I was still learning how to use and apply in school and in life. But it also brought it did bring a lot of issues sometimes, in terms of, who I interacted with, and the things that I was involved with. Sometimes your gift can breed jealousy, and you can
Hmm.
see that in some of the people you hang around or people you don't hang around. So it was really just surrounding myself with people that um, care, first of all, about me as a person, and want all of us to collectively succeed. And it's not like a, against each other type of push and pull, but it's everyone is for everyone's success. So surrounding myself with people that cared, and that really wanted, the best for themselves as well, so that I could help them and they could help me. But yeah, it was definitely difficult, I would say, especially with, how my who my parents are, and um, how very brilliant and educated they are. They're so wise, and I'm so grateful for them. And it does get difficult sometimes because you have it and you need to apply it, but then you don't sometimes know how to or what situations. So that's also something I'm learning, and what they've allowed me to do in my own life to apply. They're not like hovering over me, oh, I said this, but they're allowing me to experience that and say, okay, this is, what I told you, this is how this works. But yeah, just I think what really helped me was surrounding myself with people um, that didn't have secret animosity. I think that's the best way to put it, because
Wow.
sometimes that can, I have seen it, it can breed a lot of things that you don't even realize until it kind of hits you and you notice certain interactions, and you're like, that's not right. So yeah, just I think the support system really helps.
I tell you that you're killing me, Brianna. You're killing me. Yeah, you're killing me. You tell people don't have secret animosity. You're killing me. Oh my goodness. Uh, um, uh, did you ever feel like you're being pushed too hard by your parents, or dragged too hard? Or did they just meet you right where you wanted to be?
Um, no, I don't think. I think they do just enough that it really pushes me, and I'm used to it because from a young age they've established that standard. So that's kind of been ingrained in me for so many years. But sometimes it can feel a bit overwhelming, but I do know that it's out of love, and usually it feels overwhelming because I'm not confident in myself to accomplish whatever, they're trying to teach me or show me. So usually it's my own self doubt that makes it feel overwhelming. But I know that everything that they're telling me is out of love. And they see something in me that I sometimes don't see in myself. So I have to trust them that they're leading me in a path towards success and towards, using my gifts. So.
Whatever they saw in you is sure coming to fruition. You know, that's all I can
Thank
say.
you.
Sure, coming to fruition very fast. All right. So again, she's big sister.
Mm,
First child of the family. What was it like for you being big sister? What was it
mm,
like for you? What is it like? So it's not like past
mm,
tense, but you can look at a reflection. What has it been like? What is it like?
mm. Um, I think it's very fulfilling. I think as an older sister, I not only get to lead and to be an example to my younger siblings, but I also get to learn a lot. I feel like sometimes older siblings can be very like tell you what to do and not really listening. And I've tried to make it my goal that I'm also listening and learning from my younger siblings. So I love it. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy being an older sister. Um, I can't even, I don't think I can even find words to describe it. It's just something that, as an older sibling, you just understand. It's just um, a natural instinct to protect, to love, to serve. So I really enjoy it. That's kind of the past and the present. Um, but yeah, I've always been for my sisters. They can give a little trouble, but they're younger, so that's natural. So I also have to be, um, I have to remember that they're also learning. They were just like me. They're also learning. They're also gonna make mistakes, um, and I make mistakes too. So I can't fault them all the time. But I'm always one that's gonna give advice that's gonna help them. And if they're in the wrong, I will, tell them out of love because I want them to correct it. So then, as they grow older, they're not fostering bad habits. So I enjoy that older sister role a lot. I really do. Yeah.
Oh God, help me with Brianna. Whew.
Yeah.
Do you plan to be a lecturer, or are you a lecturer?
Not a lecturer, but I do enjoy public speaking. I my school and the administration asked me to public speak a lot. Actually, the beginning of this school year, I was actually from last summer. I was on the school board of education as their student representative. So they asked me to give a big address to all the staff from all three buildings as the first kind of kickoff. I was a little bit nervous because these are people that I know. I've seen, these are all my teachers. I've been through with that district since pre K till my senior year. So I'm seeing teachers I haven't seen in years, but they still remember my name and they're like, oh, I remember when you did this. So it was a little, I was a little bit nervous. But as soon as I went up there, it's just natural. I enjoy speaking, um,
So
public speaking.
what particularly did they want you to speak to the staff about? I mean, you know,
I think it was just like an address. I think it was just something to motivate them for the school year from a student perspective, especially because we the previous year we were having a little bit of a rough patch, but most districts go through that. So um, I kind of stepped onto that student role at a time where we were going through a lot of district changes, administration changes, and they just needed something positive. So they're like, yeah, you could do something. So, yeah, so they asked me to just give something simple to them. And the staff and teachers still talk about it to this day. I think it was, um, I think the end of the school year, they're like, I remember when you gave that address and it pumped me up. I was like, I was shocked at the reaction because you speaking just comes naturally to me. I enjoy speaking, especially if
obviously
it's
those who never hear you can obviously see that now. Like it may be too natural.
yeah. So yeah, it was great. It was a great experience, and I'm always pushing myself to go that mile. But even when I was in National Honor Society or National Junior Honor Society, I was vice president, so I had to help to run
Oh
the
dear
induction ceremony,
Jesus.
and I had to speak a lot. So I've in church. I think church is where it really started, because I'd always be up doing something or dance or doing a little sermonette or whatever. Um, so I think that's kind of really where it stemmed. I'm not really shy when it comes to public speaking. I know my friends, the teacher will ask them, oh, can you do this? And my hand is the first one up. Or I'll wait because usually he or she wants someone else to do it because I'm usually the one that will speak. But I know that some people shy away from it. But I enjoy it, especially if I can speak light and speak positive things. I mean, why not? So.
Dr. Blair, I see you there. You know, she's killing me right here. This is more than I anticipated. So I'm in awe. But that is just incredible, incredible. I know you guys didn't plan this, but it would have been good if I had thought of it to say maybe if the mom and dad were available,
Mm.
they could show up at the end of this program to let everybody see who is the mom and dad. But let's see if you can contemplate that and consider it to just to say let mom and dad, let the whole five show up, and let's see, you know, see what it looks like. So what would you say is the most challenging being big sister? The most challenging.
Mm. That's a great question. I think the most challenging part is, I don't know, I think seeing them grow up is the most challenging part. And kind of develop themselves into young women, because you've always been kind of that, motherly figure helping mom out, and, teaching them and helping them grow and etc. But then when you're seeing them kind of get to that level, and kind of mirror the things that you're doing, when you see like the fruit of what you've been trying to tell them to do and they're actually doing it and producing it, um, it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's challenging per se in terms of it's hard to accept. I just think it's beautiful that you're now realizing that, oh, like my little sisters aren't really little anymore. They're getting older, and I think it's a beautiful thing. But it is challenging a little bit to think about that. It's beautiful, but it can be a little challenging. And then I would also say, just making sure that you're consistently providing a good example. And of course, I make mistakes. I always make mistakes. So it can be hard sometimes. You might not feel like you're doing enough as an older sister, or you're not showing a good example. But it's always, just remembering that, there's grace, and I get grace and they get grace. So there's always room for improvement for everyone, and they'll still see me as an older sister no matter, how much I mess up or may have mistakes, and they'll always be there, to build me back up if I'm feeling down. So.
My friends, I'm talking to Brianna Blair, the incredible Brianna Blair. Just graduated from high school. She's this conversation is like she has graduated from college. She's like, okay, like college is behind her. I can only imagine what it would be like 4 years from now when she comes out of college. I mean, 3 years. I don't know how long she's gonna stay there because she may be gonna run through it faster than anybody else because of her brilliance. But a good time to hit your share button and invite your friends to join us. This is an incredible young lady, and I'm so proud. You know what? I missed out. I missed out. I missed out on you growing up, and I missed out on watching this develop. I wish I was able to journey with you and watch this, develop in you. And but I'm so proud of you right now.
Thank you.
Um, all right. So tell me, so the discovery of how did they discover you, or how did this happen that you get on the board of education, or how that, tell me something about that. Give me any insight into that.
Yeah. So I mean, previously, like I've been saying, I'm heavily involved in every club, almost every club imaginable. If I can fit it on my schedule, I'm either a member or I'm on the council for it or a leadership position. And they had put out a notice to a few people about a student representative position. Actually, last year, or yeah, 2 years ago, they just introduced the new role of a student representative. And one of the athletes on my track team, she was the first to be a student representative, and the role was really, really good. She was able to give a lot of insight on some of the things that, how we're feeling as, the student body versus administration. And I think it was a really good addition. And I've been talking about it. I think I was talking to my teachers about having another role for students to have a voice in the school besides the class council, and then they have to go to the principal and to the superintendent. I believe that the student representative role there, you're able to directly connect with the superintendent. So that's how I was able to kind of get noticed, I would say, in my involvement. And they had a list of students, and my principal reached out to me, and he sent me an email. He was saying, hey, the board is looking for some new student representatives, and you were someone that they had recommended if you'd like to join or be a part of this role. And I had to write like a letter to the board explaining, why would I want to be this role? How would I change Dansville by being in this role? It's not just having a position to have a title. What am I going to do for the student body? And I thought about it, and I wrote a sincere letter. Yeah, and then about maybe 2 days after, I got an email back that I was the student representative. So I had a meeting, and they, had my nameplate and everything. So yeah, I had a great experience. I think it was very, very fulfilling to be a part of that role and to connect directly with the superintendent and the board members, and just give my insight on, the school and, what we're needing. The things that I'm also seeing that people aren't telling me, but I'm noticing it. Um, yeah, but that's kind of how I
Wow.
got that position.
So one can say you're privileged. You got it by your own merit.
Right. Yeah.
All right, all right. I'm talking to Brianna Blair. I'm talking to Brianna Blair. Oh my God. All right. I'm overwhelmed. I'm almost lost for words because I don't know. I don't know how one young person could be so involved, make so much strides, climb the ladder, being so involved in so many things, and are so successful at the same time. Before I get into the progression or into moving forward, because you drag along with these your church life as well.
Mm,
Your church,
yeah.
and by the way, for those who don't know, Brianna was serious about church from her birth, from the day she was born. from the day she
Yeah.
was born. And everybody who knows Brianna and our story know that even when she was at children's church, which was in the basement of our church up in Rochester, they she wasn't engaged in children's church if the bishop was preaching upstairs. She wanted everybody in children's church to be silent because the bishop was preaching upstairs. And that was like from 2, 3 years old. Uh, we won't go more into that. But tell me about your church life journey. How do you navigate or carry them both?
Mhm.
Because for what I've heard, you have been deeply involved in church as well. I mean,
Mhm.
how much how much can one young person be deeply involved in? I
Yeah.
mean, that is not the norm. That is not the norm that you're deeply involved.
Right.
In school, you're carrying all these, I mean, Board of Education, Student Council, all the extracurriculars, and you're deeply involved in church. So give me a little bit of synopsis on your church life along
Mhm.
with those things that you do in the academic field.
Mhm. Um, I think first and foremost, what helps is that God should always be and is always the center of everything that I do. Um, so knowing that church is somewhere that I can go at the end of the week, having a rough week or very busy, and somewhere where I can connect with God, with a body of people that really does help. It is a bit tough to manage sometimes. I mean, as I'm getting busier, some Sundays I have to watch online because I physically cannot be in the building. I'm either doing college things or I'm at an event for school or I'm spearheading something and I have to be a part of that. Um, but I definitely think that it's a good balance because I know what my focus should be on and where it needs to stem from. But yeah, I'm very, very involved. I help with the media, I do dance, I sometimes do announcements and things like that. So um, I think just knowing that that's where my focus should be and everything kind of just flows from that because if I'm looking towards Christ, everything else will align. So I think that's really the best way I can put it. I still don't know with everything that I do. I don't know how I do it, how I can balance everything and do everything. Um, but I know it's just by the grace of God and the help of my parents that I'm really able to, do everything that I, wish to do and fulfill. But
Has your mom and dad ever thought that you're pushing yourself too much? They say, Brianna, cool down. You're gonna blow your own brains up
yes.
if you don't cool down.
Yes, they do tell me that sometimes like I'll have some days I'll have a board meeting in the evening, but I have practice. And then some days I have a board meeting, and then I had another meeting that I needed to do ninth period, 2:20. And then I have a game or a track meet that's going to run till 11, and then I have to come home. So I think with how many things I have to do in a day, sometimes they also get overwhelmed. Like, Bree, like you're doing so much stuff. But they give me so much grace. um, with it, and they know that I'm not just doing it because I can do it. I'm doing it because I want to, and I want to help, and I want to be fulfilling. I want to add to um, a light to my school culture and to our school spirit. So yes, they do. They will tell me that, oh, you're doing too much, but I know it's out of love, and it's that they want to make sure that I'm mentally and physically okay with how many things that I'm involved in. But yes, I have heard that many times from friends, family, and my parents. I
I am almost not okay just listening.
have.
I I am
Yeah, it's a
almost
lot. And now every time I reflect on it, it really is a lot of things. Just throughout, I wouldn't even say high school. I would say from elementary school, I was involved in everything. I think the first time I joined student council was third grade. Was third grade when they had kind of started to build that up in the elementary school. So I've always been involved. So I think that now that it's not just a sudden jump, I think because my parents know that I've been involved in so many things, especially band and marching band when you have parades and practice. I think that was kind of the stem from elementary school, so they've gotten used to the routine. But yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot, but I'm grateful for grace, and the ability to keep going. I really am.
Oh my God. I know I sound like a scratch record, and forgive me if I sound like a scratch record because you're just blowing my mind. I mean, incredible,
Mhm.
incredible, incredible.
Thank you.
And what is amazing too is how you have not let go. How many times you talk about grace and God and what the part God plays in your life and etc etc. It's just incredible because as I said, it's not the norm. It's far and few between that you're gonna find a young person at your age, 17 turning 18, deeply involved in
Mhm.
academics and school everything, school everything, and are still
Yeah.
that committed to your Christian values and your involvement in church. That is just beyond incredible, beyond
Thank you.
incredible. My good Lord. All right. My friend, I'm talking to Brianna Blair, and believe me, I'm stunned, if I could use that word, because I knew she's brilliant. I knew I was gonna have a good conversation, but it is far beyond what I expected. This is really incredible. I can only imagine what your mom and dad must be just blowing out of their shoes right now. And I know they know you. I know they know you, but I'm just saying, just having this conversation with me here live in a live stream is incredible. All right, okay. So let's get back. So we saw that you're a three sport athlete. Give us a little bit of insight into why you're a three sport athlete. What triggers that? What influences that? um what's your priority, which is one, two, three? So give us hi, Sister Davis. Davis, I see you. We're talking to Brianna. All right, we're talking to Brianna here. So God bless you, everybody. Friends, thank you for joining. If I miss you, I didn't miss you intentionally. I see all of you there and all your comments. I appreciate it. But I am completely sold out. I am sold out to Brianna right now. All right. All right.
um
So let's go.
yeah, so sports, I'd say first and foremost that sports um were I think from 7th grade were a way for me to kind of get away from the academics. I'm so heavily involved in school and extracurriculars that it can become a bit mentally taxing, especially because I'm putting 110% in everything that I do. I'm never going to put I'm never going to put myself in a position where I'm only giving 50%. If I'm doing something, it's going to be 110%. And that's what I've always strived to do. But it can be mentally taxing. So, despite, hard practices and late nights for games or track meets, it kind of takes my mind away from the academics. I don't have to worry about it. And it's a way for me to just breathe and to just be around friends and just to have fun while also staying physically fit. And I love sports and I love being an athlete. Um, yeah, so I do volleyball, indoor and outdoor track. And I did basketball for a little bit. I actually split. I did a dual season and I did basketball and indoor track in the same season. I did that for 1 year, and then I ended up doing indoor track for this winter season. So I do volleyball in the fall, I do indoor track in the spring, in the winter, and then I do outdoor track in the spring. Um, I think I love all of them equally. They all have a special place as to why I did it, what drove me to do it. I think volleyball, I've always loved it. Um, I think it's really fun. I can also be, I don't know, be in a team of people, but also kind of develop myself as a person, as an athlete. So I do enjoy that. It has more of a team aspect compared to track, but you're still kind of working together as a team. I love track. I love the track meets. I love the environment. You can ask any track athlete. The track environment is different from any other sport. It's different from basketball or football, and I mean, each has their own. But I love track. I do everything in track and have done everything besides long distance. I do the 100 meter, the 200 meter, the 4x2, 4x1. I do the open 400. I've done the 4x4.
Lord have
I'm
mercy.
also a field athlete, so I do triple jump. Well, currently I do triple jump. I do pole vault. And then I used to do high jump and long jump as well with that. So
Really?
I've done virtually everything. Yes, virtually everything under the sun besides anything long distance. Um, and that's like throughout seventh grade. And um, it's just very, very consistent. I know some years I'm doing like 4 field events and I'm doing a lot, but I think it's good. Like I said, it takes my mind off academics. And I can really just breathe and just, forget about a test or a quiz I had or something that kind of stressed me out a little bit. Um, so it definitely is a great experience. I love being an athlete. Um, and it just, I don't know, it's really fun. It's hard to explain because you love it so much. There aren't really words to explain when it's done. But it's definitely helped me through tough times, and it gives me a community that I can talk to of people who are kind of in it for the same reasons that I am. But you also hear a lot of people's stories, and you connect with them. So
That is just incredible. So sports in general, or the inception of it was stress relief. Let me
yeah,
get away from
essentially.
this, and so you get into it for, okay, release the tension, get my mind off this,
Mhm.
the tight schedules on the, what was the word I want to use, the rigmaroles of, you
Mhm.
know, academics, so I can get a little bit of time to get a little breeze out, get my
Right.
mind. And it is amazing what that can do to the psyche, just to get your mind off that,
Hmm.
sometimes just to think for, and not
Hmm.
even to play sports, but even people who are
Right.
stressed in one thing or in an
Hmm.
environment that is so stressful and the tension is so
Yep.
high, that if you just cannot take your
Hmm.
mind off, and
Hmm.
just find something to laugh about, find something to
Right.
that you enjoy.
Yes.
Take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and do something that you enjoy, that makes you
Yeah.
laugh. It is
Yeah.
amazing the psychological effect
Hmm.
that can have on someone. All right,
Hmm.
my friends, I'm talking to Brianna Blair, and this is just really, really incredible. So so that sounded to me like more than three sport athlete. That sounds like
Well,
five,
yeah,
six
and then
sport.
I also did dance since I think I was like 5. So I did dance from ages 5 to I think 13, 14. So that, I mean, that's another, like, I would say, sport that I'm also doing on top of that. So on top of doing those 3, I did dance. But I think it was good because I loved sports, and I thought, okay, being an athlete in addition to the stress relief, it was a I think for me it was a smart way to manage my emotions and stress. Instead of looking to other things that young people may be doing today, I said, okay, I'm going to put the drive and the effort into a sport that I can actually see progress from. So it was a really, I thought it was a smart investment in terms of everything that I'm doing and managing my stress. So.
Oh God. I'm gonna let Brianna get a cup of water, my friends. I'm gonna get a cup of water. I'm gonna take a little time break and Brianna get a cup of water, and then we come back and continue the conversation. Stay right there. I'm talking to Brianna Blair. You can hit your share button and invite your friends to join us. It's gonna get even better.
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m., join ORB Ministries on Let's Talk with the Doc, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. There is a story, something to encourage and inspire you. You may even have a life-changing experience. You never know what's next or who will join the conversation. Stay connected. Subscribe to ORB Ministries YouTube channel. Follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
stories are inspirational and unique. Maybe God wants to use your story as a life changer for someone. But that will never happen unless you share your story. Not only that it could be a life changer for somebody, but it could change your life as well as you release yourself. Let it go and inspire someone. That will not happen unless you share it. Remember, your light can't shine covered under a bushel. Do you want to share your story? Email orbministries@gmail.com and let's talk with the doc. Only heaven will record the impact you might have and the lives you will change as you share. Maybe that's a ministry God has given you to be a source of inspiration, a testimony of God's goodness and how you made it. Are you ready? Let's do it. All right, so we are back with Brianna Blair, and somebody messaged me, Brianna, somebody who knows me and know you, messaged me and says she was a great star camper at Youth Camp 2025. A great star camper at Youth Camp 2025. So my God, you pushed all the buttons. I'm gonna have to talk to your parents to find out how did they deal with you just like everywhere doing everything.
Yeah.
Are you a robot?
My mom has asked me that question.
Do you work with
um
batteries or what?
I don't know how. I really don't know how they do it. And sometimes I even feel bad, like I think one day I had a meeting, and then I had practice, and then I had another meeting, and then I had a parade because I'm also in marching band. Um, and I don't know how that day went because my siblings are also in marching band. So they also have to prepare and get themselves ready on top of me being, at the school. So sometimes I do realize that it is a lot. So I often find myself at the school for long periods of time, especially when my parents are at work, and I found that it's helpful because I don't really want to burden them um, with my schedule. So sometimes, of course, I wake up at 6. Sometimes I'll go to strength and conditioning for my sports that my coach will have us go to. That's like in the morning. I go through the school day, and then sometimes I'll be at the school after practice. Instead of going home to get something to eat, I would just bring something at school, and I would just stay there until like my board meeting at 6, and then I would leave around 8 o'clock. So instead of going home, I've made like arrangements with my parents to just stay at the school the whole day, and then I would either take the bus or just have them pick me up from work. So we do we do work out
I can only
like a
imagine
plan.
that.
Well,
I was just gonna ask her if she drives. So,
yes, I now that I have my permanent stuff, it's easier. Like I can drive around. Um,
okay, all
but
right.
but yeah, we've definitely developed a system. I would say, especially with my sisters as well, like I would just have them stay with me at the school. If I know that my mom has a late meeting or my dad has a meeting and they can't make it for, let's say, 5:30 when practice ends, I would just stay there and wait. And I think my school is very good about that. And I feel like because I'm very involved in the school, that they don't really see a problem with it if I'm there for an extra, half an hour, 45 minutes. So
Good God. Wow.
yeah.
They should be paying you to hang around there.
Yeah, I am at the school a lot. Very,
How
very
how
often.
how what's the reaction you get from the school now that you have completed your time there? What's the reaction from
Mhm.
students and teachers, staff, etc.? Because Brianna is no longer going to be at Dansville.
um
Brianna is moving on to bigger things. What's the reaction? About you completing your time there.
Yeah, they're definitely very. It's kind of mixed. I've definitely seen mixed feelings. I've seen a lot of teachers congratulate me, and they say they wish I could stay some more to help the younger kids. I've seen just a lot of support. I think it there's a big base of support, and they see the drive that I have. and how, how I've impacted my school and my community. And just a lot of love. But it is mixed. A lot of them I know will miss me, especially the underclassmen. I've definitely developed a relationship with underclassmen, especially as a student representative. Um, but it is a blessing. It's a blessing to have so many people, even if they don't know me. I've had teachers come up to me and say that speech was great, or good luck. So just the school wide community, I think, is great. So that even if you don't know that person, they still support you. They still care about you, want you to drive for success. So a lot of mixed emotions, but it's overall positive.
Right, earlier you talked about secret animosity. Secret animosity.
Mhm.
Have you run into any of those secret animosity? And let's say now that you're completing your tenure, if I could use a term, your time
Mhm.
at Dansville, do you feel like anybody is saying, "Thank God she's leaving, so somebody else can get a break," or somebody, do, do you hear
Right,
anything like that? Or how does give me an insight into that?
right. Um, yes, I have run into it, in even some of my classrooms and the groups that I'm in, which is why it helps. I always go back to this, and I'm always going to say this. It always helps to have a relationship with God because your discernment goes up a lot. Um, and you'll be in certain groups and you'll notice certain things that don't seem right. They don't seem positive. And you can get that sense that that person is doing such and such. And I've had experiences where I've actually seen certain people um, try and alter certain things that I want to do, or I may be going for a position. And sometimes they will do some things on the side to change that because I notice that there's changes. Mind you, I've been involved in the school for a while, so I can sense when there's changes happening that would not normally occur. Um, so I've definitely my discernment, I would say, and also my parents as well, just praying for me and seeing how I interact with people and how they interact with me. I definitely have run into that, and I've had to face that. And be okay with, even though you're giving love to someone, that does not mean that they're either going to receive it or they're going to reciprocate it. But the best thing that we can do is continue to give that love. um, but yeah, I have experienced it. And navigating it, like I said, is just being okay with not being liked. That I think that's just life in general. Not everyone is going to enjoy what you do. I have had people, I have had even people in my class. I think that's mainly where the animosity is in my own class. I haven't seen underclassmen do that. I think that I am more an inspiration to underclassmen, because they see that someone is doing something that others are not, and they see that, and they aspire to do those things and strive for those goals. But I think it's mainly in my own class, where they'll be like, "Oh, like she's doing this and that." Um, but I have to take a step back and I have to think, okay, am I really taking these positions, or did I see a gap? And now that I am taking the position and making the change, are they now, oh, I should have been doing that? Are they now double back, kind of looking back based on what I have been producing and saying, oh, I should be doing that versus actually taking that step? So I also have to kind of weigh that. And if I do feel like I'm doing a lot, like I said, I will step back. I'm fine with being a member, with just being a volunteer. I don't always have to be in anything, but if I can be involved in any way, that is a blessing. So
And incredible,
yeah.
incredible. It just kind of popped into my mind now. As your mom ever had to defend you in school
um
as
No, I would say no, because I haven't been in that position where it's like a verbal altercation. But she has told me about certain people that, God has told her about, or she's had dreams, or she's, seen things that aren't right. And sometimes she would tell me, and I already know, like I've already sensed it and I see it, and I'm not someone that will confront the person. I honestly, I let God handle it, and I notice it, and I will steer clear from that area. But I'm not one to go up to the person and say, oh, why do you have a problem with me? No, because certain things are kind of just, they're kind of done on the side. And I'd rather not have contention. I'm someone who wants to be positive. I think that's one of the things I'm known for in my school is my optimism. I'm always positive, even if it's excessive. I'm always positive. So I'm not one to breed, contention and hate. But I have had my mom tell me about certain people and certain things that she's seen and saying, be careful of this person, be careful of so and so, watch who you're around, don't let them influence you. So having my mom and my dad, praying and being very watchful of the people around me and, giving me advice, not just forcing me and saying, oh, you're not going to hang out with this person ever. I mean, those would be extreme cases, but I'm not a person to put myself in that position anyways. But if I do find myself in that circle due to sports or academics or whatever, they would definitely be the first to be like, hey, this person, I'm not getting a good feeling from them. And to just also have me develop that, that discernment to sense when something isn't right and to move away from it. But yes, I would agree to an extent, but yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Every every young person, every young Christian, every student who's aspiring to accomplish anything and want to be a Christian or is a Christian, and everyone should be listening to Brianna's story. I mean, seriously, seriously, and I'm serious. Everybody should share this with your children and your neighbors' children, especially if they're Christians, involved schools, church. I mean, this is just incredible, incredible. I
Thank you.
know, I know. I'm excited. I'm excited not because I know you, but I'm just so excited. Are you daddy's girl or you're neutral?
I say I'm neutral. I think that they both provide this like equal I think weight in my everything that I do. I'd say that my dad is more the math and engineering and that because that's kind of what he does versus my mom is more the academics because she of course she's in academics but they both equally contribute to sports and life in general. So I'd say it's neutral. I think it's pretty neutral.
I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. Um, I wanted to follow up on that. Yes, I know your mom is, for those who don't know, Dr. Marlene Blair, that she is a professor. And what I knew back then, way back then, that she teaches in Spanish, right? And in her class back then, I knew that it's only no English wasn't being spoken in her class. Um, has that influenced you in terms of being bilingual, or you just kind of go about your business and just do what you want to do and just say, let you go on with the Spanish thing, or are you bilingual in any way?
Uh, yes, I'm definitely
Oh, okay. So
bilingual.
somebody think your daddy's girl. So
Yeah.
I beg to well, I'm gonna listen what Mama says. So let's go on to the question.
Um, yes, I think it has definitely impacted me, and I think even with my mom traveling and going to so many Spanish speaking countries, I think she was mentioning that Spanish when I was younger was kind of my first language. That's what I was speaking more often than English. And then of course like the I started speaking English more, but it definitely has impacted me. I love Spanish. I definitely need to brush up on my Spanish a little bit more. But I think having that addition is so eye opening. It helps me communicate with so many people. I think we were at a volleyball game and the opposing team had a family who did not speak any English. And they were having issues with getting a ride and having the family come to watch her play. And I was able to communicate and be the translator for that family. So that was kind of like one of those instances I was able to use what I've been learning from at school and from my parents from my mom. And I also think that she also provides a lot of good academic support because now she works more in administrative things. She still teaches and she loves Spanish. But now that she works more in administrative wise, I can see the drive and the push as well for better education, continuing to strive for those goals. But yeah, I think I love Spanish. I love that it's a part of my life. I really do. I
Good for
really
you.
do.
Good for you. Your
Thank
value just went up.
you.
your value
Yes.
just went up because bilingually. I mean, your value just went up, and that was incredible to hear that you actually helped a family out to
Hmm.
translate in a situation where they needed
Yeah.
to communicate. That's brilliant. I'm glad I asked that question. I'm glad I asked that question because that
Yeah.
gave me a little bit of insight into that. All right, so you mentioned something about business and politics. uh, you know, um, Give me a little bit because I think I heard you were doing something and or tell me something on the business
Mhm.
side. What do you do on the business side and the political side, whatever that is? Give me a little bit of insight in those.
So I would say politically, I did do mock trials. So I was a lawyer, I think for like a year and a half, and we did like mock trial things, and we went to an actual court, and we had like a judge and everything, and we kind of went through the process. But I would also include politically, I think being on like school boards, leadership. This year I was blessed, I'm so thankful. I was a part of this organization called Primetime 585. So it's a big organization that includes sports and community into so much. And I was co-president of the executive student council that kind of ran all of our initiatives. Thanksgiving, we did Thanksgiving Adopt a Family program, which is where we fed, I think, over 1,000 families and communities that had. We actually fed a lot of families in an elderly home, like an elderly apartment complex. We got help from colleges, from schools, and they families would reach out and say, "Hey, I'd like to be adopted." So a school actually would reach out and say, "Hey, we want to adopt a family." So we would connect that family's list of the things that they need with that school, and then that school would then go to Wegmans or Walmart or whatever, and they would shop. So we would partner with actual corporations to shop for these families a full Thanksgiving meal, a turkey, bread, salad, everything, and we hand delivered it to their door. And just it put a smile on so many people's faces because there's a lot of people who are living below the means. And I think we tend to take advantage of a lot of things. So that really was eye opening to me, and it was really fulfilling, and it kind of solidified what I enjoyed doing and helping and impacting my community. We did a Christmas toy drive. We donated coats, a bunch of new coats, hat, gloves, and scarves to the sickle cell unit in Golisano Children's Hospital. We do award shows. We for the seasons. Um, I think this summer we're actually doing a summer literacy program in one of the city schools. So younger kids who may have difficulty with reading or literacy, we actually took young students or athletes who would want to be paid as like a summer job, and they would have a student and they would go through with them every day, and they'd be practicing on their reading. It's almost like a summer school type of program, but they do like fun things. I think they saw the Buffalo Bills, and they went to a game and stuff like that. So it was very, very fulfilling. I would say that politically is more the leadership wise. In terms of business, I love business. I always have for a while. I would say business wise, in terms of outside of school, I own a business. I bake and I sell baked goods. And when I was younger, I actually started a beauty business. I'm always someone that wants to try new ideas. So I sold lip gloss and things for kids and whatever that was hypoallergenic. Because I also have sensitive skin, so I wanted something that other kids could use. And I kind of thought about it. I did all the research. How do you make this? What are the materials you
Oh
need? What's
God.
toxic? What's non-toxic? And I did that for about a year or two, and then I transitioned over to like the baking aspect. And then one of the greatest, I'd say one of my most favorite things I've done in school, business wise, is FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America. I was involved in it since ninth grade. And it's basically I would say an organization that applies what you learn in business class or business concepts, and it actually puts it into fruition. You go to competitions, you go to districts, states, or nationals, and you compete against other people in different categories. It could be website design, client service, hospitality, a lot of stuff, coding. There's maybe over 60 to 80 different things that you can do, public speaking, a lot. And since ninth grade, I picked it up, and it just clicked. It clicked so fast. My ninth grade year, I went to states. The first year I did it, I went to states for two events. for hospitality and event management and client service. Um, my sophomore year, I did the same thing, and I got closer and closer and closer to that national level. Um, I made it to the finals for states every year. And then my junior year, I was so blessed. I was determined. I was determined. I made it to semifinals for states. Well, I won districts. So every year I've won districts. I got first place in my event. And that kind of like pushed me to keep going for states. I've made it to finals for every event that I've been in. And then my junior year, client service, I got third place overall in the entire state for client service. So I was able to go to nationals. So I went to my first national competition last year. I got top 15 in the nation for client service, and that was so eye opening. I was so blessed. So then my senior year, I picked it up a little bit more. I won districts again in my district 10. I won. I went to the finals for states again this year, and I got first place in the entire state for client service by a milestone based on my grades. Because you get judged. It's a live performance. So how client service works, I'll backtrack. So how client service works is they give you a random prompt with a problem. A customer may have a problem, something's not working. They're very upset. They're very frustrated with the problem that they're having. And you, on the spot, you have 10 minutes and 2 note cards. You have to read it, you write down what you think will help, and then there's a judge who will actively play the role as the angry customer. It can go any way. I've seen people get really I mean, it's part of the role that they have to play. I've seen them get angry. I've seen them, cry. Like, it's supposed to be very realistic, but you're supposed to solve the problem quickly and efficiently. And sometimes the problem cannot be solved, especially if it's policy wise. If you have a certain policy that cannot be broken, you may be able to waiver certain things, maybe give them a discount on their next purchase or send something for free. But other times you're able to fix the problem pretty quickly, but they're definitely unique and they get harder when you go from semis to finals. So I got first place. This was my first place in client service this year for the whole state. And those are all districts. That's even from like New York City, Long Island areas. Um, so I was very blessed. And I had a chance to go to nationals this year, but with college and stuff, I was unable to do that. But I still qualified. But I think business, I've always loved business and public speaking. This year, I also did a website design, and we got, I think, fifth place in the state for that. That was really good. That was the first time we've done a website design this entire year that we've been doing FBLA. Actually, 4 years, I believe. The 4 years we've been doing FBLA, no one has tried website design. And my advisor was like, yeah, you might as well try it. So I grouped with 2 of the team members, and we said, let's create something. We had to create a website, I believe, that was for a stadium, a new stadium in a community that has never had a stadium before. So we had to code and have a lot of,
Wow.
additional things that
So
I was not versed
you do
in.
coding too?
A little bit. I'm not very versed in code, but we used a system that kind of helped us code, and we got some help from some students who actually do know how to code based on their technology classes. So it was very
Wow.
involved and very a blessing. I would say it's a blessing. And everything I know about business today, what I'm still learning and I still have a passion for, I have gained that experience through FBLA, through that competition. You learn so much from other students who are doing the same thing. I think nationals is huge. There's over 8,000 students that are there daily. During that time. And you're competing, but they have this thing called pin trading. So we would have pins that represent your state, and it kind of supposed to represent how the business world works. If your pin is rare, you're not just going to give it up easily. Sometimes you have to pay for the pin, or you can trade it for multiple pins, or take them to the big expo and maybe get them something in exchange. I've seen people show their businesses, people who create art, people who build things, who are in trades, and they will actually showcase their business to thousands of students, where they built chairs and clocks. It's honestly amazing to see at the high school level and middle school as well. The middle schoolers will also compete. So I think that that's a blessing. I love business a lot. As much as I love science, I love business and being around that world, because you can combine both really well. So
Wow.
yeah.
Whew. That is more than a mouthful, my friends. I'm talking to
Yeah, it's a
Brianna
lot. It really
Blair.
is.
She's not even 18 yet. What you're listening to is like somebody who's 28 years old who have been through all the stuff. This is incredible. Incredible. I mean, talk about public speaking. She just like not only just like speaking fluently, but but giving
Thank
us
you.
insights into the functions, the operation, the structure. I mean, of all these
Thank
things, you
you.
can't make that up. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I'm curious about the transition or the diversion from okay the in the business aspect to baking, from lip gloss and all the other stuff. What caused Brianna to
Mhm.
change? What created the shift?
I would say I've always baked. Even before the lip gloss, I was always baking and experimenting with certain things. I don't know why. I think because I like desserts a lot. And I had the opportunity to bake. So that's kind of when I started to experiment with different things. Um, it kind of started from like taking a box mix and then how can I elevate that? Can I add flour? Can I add baking soda? Things like that. And then it turned into me making actual recipes, pulling from like people like good chefs and bakers that I've looked up to, that I've seen on TV, etc. And what would they do, and kind of taking that in. But yeah, then I started the lip gloss thing. I think it was just an idea that I saw, that I was like, oh, this would be good. Like I saw a problem essentially, and I was like, oh, this is a way that I could fix it. Um, but as you've said, I steered right back to something that I've been doing for a while. And I think I don't know, it was just having the time to put love and care into something that you can give to people. Like I said, I think it always goes back to giving. With the lip gloss, I was able to give, but I feel like that's kind of, it's more materialistic versus the baking. I can really sit there and I can make everything with love and give it to them. They're able to enjoy it and eat it. So I think that, like I said, it goes back to that giving, that
What's your
giving
what's your
aspect.
what's your favorite thing to bake?
Uh, I would say my favorite thing to bake are chocolate chip cookies and cupcakes, and that's, I think, the most popular that I know people have asked me to make. Cakes are a bit harder um, because they break easily. They're harder to ice. There's a whole process with that. But I would say chocolate chip cookies and cupcakes. Those are my favorite because you can design them and they just taste really good, in my opinion. I think
Okay,
those are the best.
at least you don't look like you're overeating all those nice things because you're
Yeah.
maintaining that statue. All right. Okay. We're not gonna keep you all night tonight because who knows? You might have an event. You might have an event or a meeting after this one.
Oh
Incredible,
my goodness.
incredible. All right. So we know you're heading off to college. You're heading off to college soon.
Mhm.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I I
Thank you.
I, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what quality student
Thank
you are going to be at the college that you tap into. I can only imagine what they're going to discover of a freshman
you.
coming into their college. If they haven't known anything about you yet, they are up for something coming. I can tell them that they're up for
Thank
something
you.
coming. Good Lord of
Thank
mercy.
you.
All right. So tell me now what inspires what influences or inspires your career choice now. You're
Mhm.
moving from where you are and you're aspiring, you want to pursue going to into pediatrics, right? So
Mhm.
so give me a little bit of insight. What triggers Brianna, who is so active up and down, involved in it, want to go into pediatrics?
um, I think, like I've always said, I think it's the that drive to give. I love to give, and to just make people happy. And I think um in connection with science, I've always loved science. I've always taken higher science classes that I need. I think this year I did some college courses where I took some intro level um, pre-med courses as a senior. So I essentially have a few of my pre-med classes done. Of course, I have to retake some of them, due to the system that they have. But I think science, I love science, very intrigued on, how cells work, how the human body works, because the way, like when you learn certain things, it doesn't even just go back to, the intriguing parts. Like God made that. Certain things that you can't imagine, like the certain systems, like your body naturally breathes, like you don't have to think about that, but the process of breathing, people don't understand. There's a lot of cell exchange going on in your body that happens so quickly. So it's just very intriguing to me. And then again, kids. I think I've always wanted to be a doctor. If you ask anybody, I've always wanted to be a doctor. I don't know what really stemmed it. I think, like I said, the giving part, but and then science. I've always wanted to be a doctor, always. And then I started to really love kids. I think the first time I really wanted to work with kids was, I think, fourth or fifth, no, seventh grade. Seventh grade, our National Junior Honor Society had an opportunity for us to go into the fifth grade classrooms and read to the students and help them with work. And there was a one girl, she was in first grade. And she was so sweet, and I was able to help her with her reading. And I was like, I want to be that person that helps kids. Um, and I think as I've gotten older and I've seen how society shapes a lot of how our generation thinks, especially what our younger generation is exposed to now. Um, I feel a passion to be the light and to be the change, especially in something in the medical field where there's a lot of, um, there is stability, but there can be better. And I think that essentially there needs to be more, young people who are passionate about giving good quality medicine, but also being a good change. Encouraging people to stay healthy and to be well and etc. So I think being a kid's doctor would allow me to impact them at a young age, so that they can trust me, so then they can take my wise words. Because I mean, sometimes when you go to the doctor, you just you hear them and you go to your appointment or whatever. But I also want to be the doctor that stays and listens, because oftentimes you have a lot on your schedule and you go in for 5 minutes and then you come out, your appointment's quick. But are we really listening to what they have to say, especially children, where they can't really explain how they're feeling, especially when they're overwhelmed with emotions. They can't really express it that well. Um, so I think that being that person that can, understand, be understanding, be a change, and to spark that in you, maybe other young people like me who feel the same, but they're not seeing that around them. To be that light and say, hey, like I'm thinking the same way. Let's conjoin, etc. So yeah, I've always wanted to be a doctor. I've always loved kids. Um, yeah, and I think that where I'm going, especially where I've chosen, will foster that drive in that community, that will really uplift me, because medicine is hard. It's hard. It's a very grueling process that if you're not, um, if that's not what you really want to do, and
Mhm.
to dedicate your life to 10 plus years minimum of education and time and etc. It's not something that I would recommend to pursue if that's not something that you want to pursue. But because I have felt it strong and I've prayed about it so much, but because it's been in my heart for a while, I think my mom found a I think in, like, when you're in primary school, you do little like papers that say what do you want to be when you grow up, etc.
Mhm.
And she
Mhm.
found one from kindergarten that said I wanted to be a doctor. So
Really?
that was kind of another confirmation for me, as I saw that's something that's been in my heart for a while. That I've always wanted to be a doctor. And even if it's not pediatrics, something doctor, even if it's maybe administration in a hospital, running a practice, etc. Um, but yeah,
So
that
this,
that
so
definitely.
despite all the extracurriculars, despite all the this and the that and the other that Brianna has been so good at, if I could use a term, deep down, deep down, she wanted to be a doctor above everything else.
Yeah.
So those things were just what, the little the thing that Brianna has been doing. What you consider them as what?
No, they were definitely important, and they all have their values. I believe that in terms of career, and what I really want to pursue, because I just like being involved. I think that when I'm here, especially if I have a gift of, wanting to give and I can do things well, um, I don't think it would be useful for me to just sit on what I have and sit on the talents and the gifts that I have and not use them to bring a light and be positive to those around me. So I think being involved also helped me develop a lot of skills, a lot of leadership, a lot of problem solving. Um, and it actually helped me to develop the drive that I have now, because I make mistakes, I learn, and I apply them again to other situations. Um, but yeah, I think overall, in terms of life, it has taught me a lot. In terms of career, that's kind of just the path that I've been, as I needed to narrow down what I wanted to do for college, that's where I had set my eyes on. But that, I think that's the best way that I can
Wow.
explain that. Yeah.
Well, based on your history, based on your little, I mean, your short history in years, the years part, the experience is a whole other story, right? It's a whole other story. It's like your 17 years of experience sound, it's like 27 or 37 years compacted together into 17 years. That's beyond my imagination. I mean, the articulation, the
Thank you.
experience, the involvement, the ability to just to talk it out, as I said before, you can't communicate the way you do by just imagination. You have to be involved,
Mhm.
experience to give us the ins and the outs on the functionality and the operation and the structure of I mean, that is just beyond human comprehension. That's just beyond me. I'm at a loss, Brianna. This is way more than I expected. Way more. I was prepared to have a good conversation, hear some things about Brianna, but this was way more than I anticipated. Believe me, it's more. Um, and we're gonna wrap it up because, as I said before, I don't know if you have another meeting tonight, so we're not gonna
Oh, I
or,
do.
or in a board meeting or something. I just need to get some rest because you gotta get up early tomorrow.
Oh,
But
goodness.
tell me something about Brianna that I may not know, or I didn't
Oh,
ask.
man.
Tell me something about Brianna that I didn't ask or don't know,
I don't know. I feel like I've explained a lot, just in me talking.
and that's fine.
Um, I don't know. I don't
All
know.
right.
I think I would add that in addition to like things I'm involved in, I like pick up little like little hobbies and stuff, or like things that I do. Like I think one thing I would say is my mom has started to get me on fixing watches, like watch links and stuff like that, because she'll have her watches that would be too big, and she bought me a kit. So every time that she buys a watch, she gives it to me to fix the watch link or to fix the dial or something. So I think just little things, just being handy. And I think as an older sister, you develop that as well, the independence. Um, so I mean, when something new comes up, I'm setting it up, or I'm helping my dad with the car, or just a lot of like little handy things. I've learned to be very hands on, and independent. So that's another thing I would add, um, compared to what I've already said. But yeah.
Wow. 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 Whew. Well, I'm just happy to have this conversation with you. I am
Thank you.
pleased
Me
to have
too.
this conversation with you. I have learned a lot about Brianna that
Thank you.
was not on my radar. Was not my radar. I've heard a few things, but my good Lord, I mean, I'd have to go back and listen this program to refresh my mind and my memory of the things that you have talked about, that you have been involved in and know so much about. Not just like,
Yeah.
a hint here, but the details, of all of these things that you talk about. It's just like, you are incredible. You are
Thank
incredible. You're
you.
an amazing
Thank
young
you.
woman. I hope I live long to see you come to, your dreams come true. I hope I live long, to see you graduate from college and maybe become doctor, so
Thank
I can
you.
pass by, maybe one of my great grandchildren or I can say, go see Brianna. Yeah, oh God, God bless you. I'm sure your
Thank
parents are
you.
so proud, and if I were them, I would be as proud as well. And I'm sure your siblings are
Thank
so
you.
excited about you. And as you
Hmm.
said, you've been a great example to them. There is something for them to emulate, and to
Thank you.
try to pattern, or to model, to them to follow that model that you have laid down. And I think they're doing well already, because I heard that
Mm.
Miss Adania is like climbing up into becoming
Oh yeah. Oh
ambassador.
yeah.
The next thing I'm gonna have to get Miss Adania, my
Dania, yeah.
goddaughter, Brianna is my wife's goddaughter, and I gotta get my goddaughter in here, because I just heard that she became
Hmm.
ambassador for some
Yeah. Yeah,
Barbie
she's
stuff.
doing a
So
lot.
that's a
Yeah.
big deal. So God bless you. God bless the
Thank
Blair
you.
family. We've gotten to know your mom and your dad before your days began, and we are excited to be still connected with the family, and
Hmm.
watch this, and to have this opportunity to talk to you on Let's Talk with the Doc is amazing. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Now, I don't know if your parents took up the offer that I made as suggestion. Maybe they did not take it up the offer, what would be your fine if they took the offer up? They can swing by the camera. If they didn't, we'll chat to them after the program. We'll chat to them after the program, so we can see everybody after the live program. But what would you say? And I know if somebody want to hear what you would have to say, they could go back to the beginning of the program, and listen how you
Mm.
started. But what would you say to a young person in your age
Mhm.
group, younger, older, who is struggling with their faith,
Mhm.
and their academics, who are
Mhm.
struggling to carry both, and to be faithful and sincere, to be dedicated to their pursuit in their academics, and to be faithful in serving the Lord? What would you say to somebody? How would you suggest to the approach to be, to navigate, and,
Mhm.
carry both sides?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. I would start with developing a relationship with God, reading your word, and being consistent. Because sometimes you might have the drive to do it and you might do it for a day or two, but then when you don't feel the motivation, it kind of slacks off. So I would say discipline is important. Um, and developing a discipline like that will carry over to your academics, your sports, etc. um, I would also say to surround yourself with people who will uplift you, who will give you the support that you need when you feel like you cannot continue, when you're struggling with this, because you don't realize how important support is until you need it. And then you have it, you receive it, and you apply it. So I think surrounding yourself with people that you know are going to uplift you and help you and support you in any way, I think is very, very important because they will also help you to balance that. Because if you feel like you're kind of on that journey alone, it's going to feel even heavier because you don't have someone to help, hold you up. Um, so on top of, maintaining that relationship and striving and just continuing to seek God and keep him at the head of your life for everything, even when it seems like he's not doing anything or you're not, hearing him or he may not be listening to you, you always keep him at the forefront because when you're focused on that, everything else falls in place. Everything else falls in place. And I saw that um, come into existence with my college journey, with how I applied to my colleges. I only applied to two. I could have my teachers were telling me to apply for Ivy Leagues, and I could have got into Ivy Leagues with my GPA, but I prayed about it, and God said two. So I applied to Baylor University in Texas, and I applied to Palm Beach Atlantic, and I got in immediately. Almost immediately, I got into those two schools. I didn't have to wait very long. But now it was, what school is best for me. And as I'm praying, and I'm nervous. I can't even say, like, even me saying, oh, praying about it, like, I still had nerves. I still had doubts. Is this really what God wants me to do? Even with my drive wanting to be a doctor, is this really what God wants me to do? Is this
Mhm.
what is the path that he wants me to be on? Um, but I'm saying prayer, it works. And as I would, go through the process, I would see things align together. The people I would meet, the connections I would make, they're not coincidences. And when you realize they're not coincidences, then your faith increases a lot. I
Mhm.
think I came back home from, I'll never forget this. I came back home from a tour. I went on a big tour at Palm Beach Atlantic, and I loved it. And I loved it so much that I was struggling a lot with deciding, because I love the school I'm going to now. I've seen it for about 2 years since I was younger, and I've always wanted to go there. Sports academics, they have a great medical program. But then I saw this school that was a very, very strong faith base, and they had good academics as well. And when I saw it, it was like by the beach and everything. I was like, it has a great dorm, great academics, great athletics. And when I got home and I got a letter, an envelope, from Baylor that said, "Welcome home. This is where you're meant to be." After I was in the car, and I kind of made my decision in my head of where I wanted to go, but I was still struggling because I didn't want to make the decision on my own. And I read the envelope, and I said, this is my confirmation. This is where I need to be. And I continue to see things align. So like I said, keep God at the forefront of everything that you do. Everything, keep trusting in him, keep praying, because you will eventually see everything line up. And as I mentioned before, people to support you, to pray for you, to uplift you, right? Because you need that. You cannot do everything by yourself, and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to need help. And once you understand that from a place that people will love you and they want to help you, then you can be more open to change and to developing, um, and to really accomplishing goals, because you have that support system. So that's really the those 2 points, I would say.
Whew. Wow. My friends, I don't have to say a thing if you've been here hanging around and listening to this young lady. What an example of brilliance and determination and purpose and
Thank
passion
you.
and drive. What class of person that I talked to tonight. I wish you long life, good health.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
I wish that God helps you to pursue your dreams and be able to pour it back into others.
Mhm.
And I pray that you will be that example to others. Anybody who's struggling with their school and sports, church, need to listen to this conversation. Anybody who think I can't carry both need to hear you.
Mhm.
Need to hear you. And I pray that this would go far and wide. I hope that somebody listens this program tonight or tomorrow or next week or
Mhm.
even next year, would share it with somebody and say, I know this young lady, I know this young guy who this would be a source of blessing and inspiration to. Only God knows. Only God knows how many lives this program will impact, not just tonight, but in the future.
Mhm.
May God bless you. You have my prayers. You have my
Thank you.
best
Thank
wishes. You
you.
have my support. I'll be one praying for you. And you
Thank
know you can
you.
always call me and talk to me.
Yes.
You can always call your godmother and talk to
Mhm.
her. We will always be here. May God
Thank
bless
you.
you. It has
Thank
been
you.
my pleasure
Thank you so much
and
for having me. Thank
delight
you.
to
Thank
talk
you
to you.
so much. Thank
Wow.
you.
More than I could imagine.
Thank
More
you
than
so
I.
much. I really appreciate tonight. Thank you for having me.
It is my
Thank you.
pleasure. It is my pleasure. It was pleasure coming on, and it's more pleasure going out
Thank
because I've
you.
heard
Thank
so
you.
much from you. You're such an inspiration. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay right there because I mean we want to talk to you. When we're gonna go off like how we came on, right? So we're gonna close the
Okay.
program out live. Then we'll chat a little bit when we finish.
Okay. Perfect.
My friends, thank you for watching another Let's Talk with the Doc. I've been talking to Brianna Blair, and OMG, as they say. What a brilliant young lady. What a brilliant young lady. Not only in her academics, but in her confidence in God, in her relationship, in her consistency, in her trust, and her belief in God. And as she said, even when you don't feel like He's there and you're doing it all by yourself, still hold on to your faith. And don't forget, if you're stressed on something that occupies your time day and night, take a break and do something for a few minutes that makes you laugh, that makes something that you
Yes.
like, because it's a stress relief and it can do an amazing thing to help your psyche and to keep you sane. Keep you sane.
Mhm.
Until next time, my friends, everybody has a story. And if you want to share your story, hey, email me at orbministers@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to talk with you. Kerry Ann Roberts, God bless you. And thank you, everybody, for your contribution and for staying there. We look forward to seeing you again on another Let's Talk with the Doc. Until next time, my friends, God bless you. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook. And by the way, if you TikTok, check out ORB Ministries because we are not stopping. We're going to take ministry wherever we can go. All right. I look forward to seeing you again. God bless you. Until next time, stay safe. Well, thank you for checking in on ORB Ministries. I trust that you will share with your friends, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and stay tuned because you never know what's next or who will join the conversation.